Okay, so we have just 30 days left until the Switch 2 comes out. It's actually less than 30 days. So we wanted to create a video, just building a bit of excitement really, have a look at the positives of launch, the things we're looking forward to, and hear your comments as well down below.
Yeah, we're going to look at a couple of launch games that we're most looking forward to, some of the features of the Switch 2 that catch our eye, and talk about some of the franchises we'd like to see come to the Switch 2 ultimately as its lifespan goes on.
Lovely, all right. Let's build the hype, shall we? Or are we going to, I should say, make it a question.
There we go.
Let's find out. All right, let's start off then with that, as you just said. What is the game that you are most looking forward to?
Okay, well, mine, probably no surprise if you watched our video from last week, but it would be Street Fighter 6. I said in that video, the one I'm referencing, that I'm a big fan of the series, of course, and I haven't played 6 yet. I've played up to 5 on the PS4, I played that, so I'm just looking forward to, you know, A, playing the most recent entry, and B, just seeing where they went with it in terms of new characters I don't know anything about, story mode, etc, etc.
Yeah, I think for me, although it's not the game that I'm most looking forward to, the experience of getting it on launch day is going to be the best.
Yeah.
And that is Cyberpunk 2077 with all the DLC. But it's literally getting that physical delivered.
Yeah.
You know, having the actual cartridge, knowing I don't need any nonsense. I can just sit down and enjoy it and play it. And for those that haven't played the game, like it's decent. Really, really good. I don't know if have you played any of this?
I played a tiny bit. You showed me some of it, but I've not really played it enough to have any sort of opinion on, other than the fact it's a cyberpunk world, which I love. And as you mentioned, it's actually all on the cartridge, which is a big win in what seems to be coming. That's almost going to be a rarity, you know?
It really is. So this has changed completely since I showed it to you.
Yep.
So they worked on this massive update that like changed the way that police work so that they actually work, changed a lot of the mission structures. Like it's just not the same game. And it's really an example of why sometimes just saying it's not ready yet, we're going to wait is the best option.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ultimately it hasn't hurt the game, has it? Because they've kept a fan base through it, but you're not wrong. You know, sometimes just to deliver it as it should have been on launch, I mean, that's got to be better in it for sure.
I'd say so. What other games do you know that kind of have done that? Because I know one of my other favourites, No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky is the one that springs to mind, isn't it? Because it was absolutely caned at launch, ridiculed, you name it. But again, it seems to have kept not just a fan base, but goodwill.
Yeah.
I suppose because they went back and did so much to it.
Yeah, absolutely. You sometimes get these like head of studios that it's like a personal pride thing.
Yeah.
And for Sean Murray it was that. And I'm sure the head of CD Projekt Red is similar. Like he's always felt like he's one of the gamers.
Right, okay.
You know, and then wants to carry that on. Yeah, I'm sure there's been other ones, but...
Well, I remember a quote, it was from Shigeru Miyamoto about, I think it was about a Star Fox game.
Yeah.
I forget the exact quote, but the gist of it was a delayed game is delayed for a while, a bad game is bad forever, which is not necessarily the case anymore.
No.
I mean, you know, this was obviously back on, must have been the Wii U, I guess. That isn't the case anymore, but I do still respect his principle in that delivering it to your audience as it should be on launch is still, you know, so honourable.
Yeah.
As opposed to something that's half-assed and then fixing it later, which it's not always the case, to be fair. Sometimes they release it in a good state but want to make it better, and that should be applauded as well. But there are some times where that's not been the case, you know? Yeah,
exactly. And that takes me on to like Mario Kart really does embody that principle from what we've played.
Yeah.
It's just so smooth, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just silky.
Exactly. And Nintendo are, to be fair to them, are very good at doing that. There have been some times where some of their first party titles, there have been some frame rate issues and stuff, but for the most part, what you get on day one, in terms of the quality of the gameplay, remains the same. Yeah. They may add new courses, characters, depending on what franchise you're talking about, but the core mechanics and gameplay experience are as good on day one.
Yeah. The next thing that I'm really excited about is the hardware, obviously, the physical unit itself.
Yep.
Now, we have been really privileged to actually feel it, and it feels different, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It's got a premium feel to it. Not to say that the Switch 1 didn't. I think the main reason for it for me was just the size of the Joy-Con.
Yeah.
Being that bit bigger just made it more comfortable to hold. As much as it's such a small thing, extended periods of play in handheld mode, you do start to feel it, you know?
You do, and yeah, well, everything we've said, I think size is one of the ones we haven't really spoken about that much.
Yeah.
It's just assumed, you know, it's that much bigger, and if you've got big hands, great. But actually, I think for everyone with that screen as well, it's going to be a nice experience.
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, so with that in mind then, what is the feature of the console that you're most excited about?
I don't think you can look too far past the mouse. Yeah. You know, I mean, I've mentioned the size of it. That probably is mine, just from a comfort perspective. But if you're talking about actual next level or something that moves it forward, then certainly the mouse is that for me. Yeah,
I'd say if it wasn't that for me, then it'll be the screen.
Yeah.
Like the size of that screen can't be understated. I've used a few handhelds recently. Obviously, we all use the OLED. I had that other one. Do you remember I had that like, it was a bit like a Steam Deck, but it was even bigger.
Yes, I do, yeah.
And then you had the PlayStation Portal, which had a lovely LCD screen. But this thing's huge. Like the Switch screen, the new one, is lovely. It can't be understated what a difference that makes. And you and I ended up playing predominantly handheld because we have young families that are hogging the TV all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why those features make sense. The mouse is an interesting one when you mention handheld, because a lot of people have asked, how's that going to work? You're not going to have a table necessarily to sit and play at and what have you. I don't know the exact answer, to be fair, but I do remember as a kid playing Mario Paint on the Super Nintendo, and that you got with that a hard board mouse mat.
So Nintendo.
Yeah, and you just stuck it on your lap and away you went, and it worked just fine. So I mean, any sort of hardback book, I'm assuming, would do the job, you know, but it's just whether people need the full experience of sitting at a table and whatnot.
You know what they need?
What's that?
A lap desk. These are things that actually exist. I almost bought one yesterday.
Oh,
it's like a cushiony thing,
right,
with basically like a tabley thing on it.
Okay.
And then it's got a slot for your Switch to kind of like sit in.
Oh, yeah.
So in that mode, and then you've got a mouse space.
There we go.
Like it sounds and looks ludicrous, but man,
but it works.
Lap desk, bro. You know what you're getting for Christmas?
Yeah, exactly.
So what is one franchise then? So you could sparkle some sparkle. Wow. You could sprinkle some dust.
Yeah.
Right. Magic, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. Legal dust.
Of course.
Right. And it would land, and your favourite franchise and game pops out. What's it going to be?
I'll tell you what, why don't you go first and I'll have a think about it.
I will. So I've sparkled, sprinkled and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
done all the things beginning with S. And what's popped out for me is Fallout 3 and 4 bundled together. I'm cheating here.
Yeah.
I'm cheating. I want them bundled.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like a remastered edition, all the bells and whistles, all of the DLC, which will be huge. Everyone's been talking about Fallout 3 and why it hasn't come across.
Yeah.
I'm going to red herring this.
Go on.
Because I have to.
All right.
Gears of War has just come out on a PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
Or just been announced like yesterday.
Yeah.
Gears of War. That's like the Xbox's, I don't know, it's like putting Mario.
Yeah, it's their baby, isn't it? Yeah.
It's their baby. So yeah, I wouldn't mind Gears of War either. But that was kind of the reasoning people had, you know, it was Bethesda, which Xbox bought, so they're kind of keeping it close.
Yeah.
But then they did the Oblivion remaster across everything. So yeah, for me, I would love to have Fallout 3 and 4. And I know that most people kind of skipped 4, or at least it didn't get the same attention that 3 did. So put those on. I do think they will come as well.
I think they will, yeah, in some form at some time. Mine then would be, I've got 2. I'm going to go with Resident Evil.
The new ones.
The new ones, or any really, but I'd certainly love to play the 2 remake, the 3 remake, the 4 remake. Yeah, no. 7, 8, Village, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, all those, chuck them on, by all means. Pack all the old ones onto one disc. I say disc, you know, what's it going to be these days? A pretend card, whatever you want to call it. If there's no in Capcom. And sell all those to me as well. I'll buy them again, why not? I'd love all that. And any new game coming, of course, as well.
Yeah.
The other one would have been Mortal Kombat. I'd love to see. I mean, we got 1 on the Switch, of course. I'd love to see a good version of 1, a good strong version of 1 on the Switch 2. And again, anything that comes after it to be on there too. But yeah, that would. Those will be mine, I think.
Lovely. I think that's some really good games and some good features and things. I think one area of the Switch too that maybe people aren't allowing themselves to get as excited as I think they should. It's no longer Nintendo miles behind in terms of hardware.
Yeah.
Like historically, we've just seen they haven't been able to put these games on without these massive efforts from teams to get them to run properly. That shouldn't be the case anymore.
It shouldn't be. And I refer back to Street Fighter 6, which we played very briefly recently at an event. And you know, you're waiting for your turn and you're stepping up, and in your mind you're like, please be good.
Yeah.
Just please play like it needs to play, it should play, you know, and you step up and it does, and it's like, oh, thank you, you know.
Looks cracking,
It
doesn't
does,
it?
looks really good. And yeah, that to not have that concern anymore, up to a point, of course, would be great, or you know, should be great. It should be the case. It should happen, shouldn't it?
Exactly. And other aspects that have been overshadowed, I think, by the other pricing and all of that. The fact that Nintendo have gone out of their way to get a From Software exclusive.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there are things to look forward to. It's just the whole price thing that's overshadowed it, and it's I don't know. I mean, everyone's different, but I don't even think it's the price of the console, is it necessarily?
No,
you know, I'm sure some people will still think it's too expensive. It's just the odd structure of the games pricing, the odd structure of the physicality of it. Yeah. Even if it's classed as a physical, the upgrade system. There's just so many question marks that seem to be overshadowing the good. Yeah. Don't there? And hopefully soon there'll be some proper clarity about that.
Exactly. People don't like change. They don't like confusion.
Yeah.
And that's what Nintendo have just...
They're masters of it, I'm afraid.
Have some confusion and change. Quick, you need more? There you go. Have a bit more. All right, so I think that's it. I think I'm excited for the Switch 2. Like, I'm really excited. I think the gaming experience I'm most excited about actually is what we just spoke about there, the From Software. Because it's co-op, I would love to do the review like together.
Yeah, definitely.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. You know, once you've pre-ordered it and you've paid your money and you know it's gone out your account, you've forgotten how much it cost. That's the bit when you start to feel excited. It's just the overshadowing of the games. Yeah. Once they start trickling it out, and how much they're going to be, RRP we know, but you know how much a third-party retailer is going to sell them for. It's not nice to still have that uncertainty this close. Yeah. But for now, I'm just going to push that to one side and you know look forward to the console turning up. Lovely.
Let us know in the comments what you're most excited about. As we say, let's have a bit of positivity.
Absolutely. Don't forget, if you're looking for eShop credit to pick anything up for the Switch as it stands at the minute, you can use our website, switchup.gg, and doing so will get you 5% of your purchase price back as cash back. Other links down there to places such as PlayAsia. Using them does help the channel out and it saves you a bit of money. Do check that out. And yeah, thank you to our patrons and our channel members for your continued support. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.